The Psychology of Selling. Increase your sales faster and easier than you ever thought possible. By Brian Tracy. Comprehensive Summary. Introduction. The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy presents a comprehensive exploration of the mental and emotional factors that drive both selling effectiveness and buying decisions, arguing that sales success depends more on psychological understanding than product knowledge or technical techniques. Drawing from decades of sales experience, training thousands of salespeople, and studying top performers across industries, Tracy contends that selling is fundamentally a transfer of enthusiasm and conviction from salesperson to customer, making the seller's mindset, beliefs, and emotional state the primary determinants of results. The book challenges conventional sales approaches that focus primarily on scripts, techniques, and product features by demonstrating how customer psychology, trust building, and value communication create more sustainable success than high-pressure tactics or manipulative methods. Through a systematic examination of both buyer and seller psychology, Tracy provides frameworks for understanding how emotions drive purchasing decisions, how different personality types respond to various approaches, and how salespeople can develop the mental attributes that naturally attract customers and create buying environments. For sales professionals seeking consistent improvement, managers wanting to develop their teams, or entrepreneurs needing to sell their ideas effectively, The Psychology of Selling offers both the psychological insights necessary for understanding human behavior in sales contexts and practical methods for applying these insights to create authentic influence that serves both seller and buyer interests. Overview of the book. Tracy structures his work around the dual psychology of selling, examining both the mindset required for sales success and the psychological factors that influence buying decisions. The book begins by establishing the foundation of sales psychology, including self-concept development, goal setting, and the mental attributes of top performers. Early chapters explore how salespeople's beliefs about themselves, their products, and their customers directly influence their results through confidence, enthusiasm, and persistence. Middle sections examine customer psychology, including how emotions drive buying decisions, the role of fear and desire in purchase motivation, and methods for identifying and addressing different personality types and decision-making styles. Advanced chapters address specific psychological aspects of the sales process, including trust building, objection handling, closing psychology, and relationship maintenance. Throughout these sections, Tracy balances theoretical understanding with practical application, providing specific techniques, scripts, and strategies while emphasizing the psychological principles that make them effective. The book concludes with guidance on developing a professional sales career, including continuous learning, skill development, and maintaining motivation through inevitable challenges and rejections. This structure creates both a comprehensive understanding of sales psychology and a practical development path for implementing these insights across diverse selling situations and customer types. Key concepts in the psychology of selling. Self-concept, the foundation of sales success. Tracy begins by establishing self-concept, how salespeople see themselves and their capabilities as the fundamental determinant of sales performance, arguing that external results consistently mirror internal beliefs about personal worth and selling ability. He explores how self-concept functions as a psychological thermostat that regulates performance, with salespeople unconsciously sabotaging success when results exceed their self-perceived limitations or working harder when performance falls below their identity standards. Through research and examples, Tracy demonstrates how salespeople with strong self-concepts naturally exhibit confidence, persistence, and enthusiasm that customers find attractive, while those with poor self-images project uncertainty and desperation that repels prospects. Tracy introduces three components of sales self-concept: self-ideal, who you want to become; self-image, how you see yourself currently; and self-esteem, how much you like and respect yourself, showing how improving any component enhances overall selling effectiveness. He provides specific techniques for self-concept development, including positive affirmations, visualization exercises, skill development activities, and success record-keeping that reinforce identity as a professional salesperson. Tracy addresses how negative experiences, rejection, and criticism can damage self-concept, while providing methods for maintaining psychological resilience through reframing techniques and focusing on controllable behaviors rather than outcomes. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that self-concept development represents not mere positive thinking, but the psychological foundation that determines which actions salespeople will take and how effectively they will execute them. This self-concept framework explains why salespeople with identical training and territory often achieve dramatically different results. Their internal beliefs about themselves create different standards for behavior, persistence, and goal achievement that manifest through consistent performance patterns. Customer psychology, understanding how people buy. Tracy examines the psychological processes underlying purchasing decisions, challenging the common assumption that people buy rationally based on logical feature comparisons by demonstrating how emotions drive buying decisions, while logic provides post-purchase justification. He introduces the fundamental principle that people buy feelings and outcomes rather than products or services, seeking solutions to problems, improvements to situations, or achievement of desired emotional states. Through analysis of customer decision-making, Tracy reveals how buyers evaluate purchases through two primary emotional filters: fear of making mistakes, losing money, appearing foolish, or missing opportunities, and desire for gain, improvement, recognition, or security. He explores how effective selling addresses both emotional drivers by minimizing fears through risk reduction while amplifying desires through benefit emphasis and outcome visualization. Tracy examines different customer types and their psychological preferences, including analytical buyers who require detailed information, expressive buyers who respond to enthusiasm and social proof, driver personalities who want bottom-line results, and amiable types who prioritize relationships and consensus. For each type, he provides specific approaches for communication style, presentation structure, decision-making process, and closing methods that align with their psychological preferences. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that understanding customer psychology enables salespeople to adapt their approach to match individual preferences rather than using one-size-fits-all methods that may contradict customer decision-making styles. This customer psychology framework transforms selling from persuading people to buy things they don't want into helping them discover how products or services address their genuine emotional needs and practical requirements. Trust, the foundation of persuasion. Tracy identifies trust as the essential prerequisite for persuasion, examining how customers evaluate credibility through multiple dimensions, including competence, reliability, intimacy, and self-orientation. He demonstrates how trust development accelerates the sales process, while its absence creates resistance regardless of product quality or price competitiveness. Tracy explores how trust manifests through both conscious evaluation, credentials, references, company reputation, and unconscious assessment, body language, vocal patterns, consistency between words and actions. Through research on influence psychology, he shows how trust creates receptivity to recommendations while distrust generates skepticism that requires overcoming before any sales progress becomes possible. Tracy provides specific methods for trust building, including thorough preparation that demonstrates competence, promise-keeping that establishes reliability, question-asking that shows genuine interest in customer needs, and transparency about limitations or competitive alternatives. He addresses how trust development requires time and consistent behavior, making rushed selling approaches counterproductive when customers need confidence before commitment. Tracy examines how different personality types establish trust through different mechanisms. Analytical customers through demonstrated expertise, expressive types through personal connection, drivers through proven results, and amiable personalities through relationship development. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that trust cannot be manufactured through techniques, but emerges from authentic competence, genuine concern for customer welfare, and consistent alignment between promises and delivery. This trust-first approach explains why some salespeople achieve rapid customer acceptance, while others face constant resistance. The difference often lies in trust-building behaviors that customers evaluate consciously and unconsciously before becoming receptive to sales messages. The law of indirect effort. Natural attraction versus force. Tracy introduces the law of indirect effort, explaining how the most effective sales results often come from focusing on customer service and relationship building rather than directly pursuing sales outcomes. He demonstrates how this principle operates through numerous examples where salespeople who concentrate on understanding customer needs and providing genuine value naturally attract more business than those who focus primarily on closing techniques or quota achievement. Tracy explores how indirect effort manifests through several approaches, asking questions to understand customer situations rather than immediately presenting solutions, providing valuable information and insights regardless of immediate sales potential, building long-term relationships that generate referrals and repeat business, and establishing expertise that positions salespeople as trusted advisors rather than vendors. He contrasts this with direct effort approaches that often create resistance, including premature closing attempts, pressure tactics, and manipulation techniques that may produce short-term results while damaging long-term relationship potential. Through case studies across industries, Tracy illustrates how indirect effort creates sustainable competitive advantage by differentiating salespeople as partners rather than predators, generating customer loyalty that transcends price comparisons. He provides specific implementation guidance for indirect effort, including question frameworks that demonstrate genuine interest, value delivery methods that build credibility, and follow-up systems that maintain relationships beyond individual transactions. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that indirect effort requires patience and confidence, as results may be delayed compared to high-pressure tactics, but creates more sustainable and enjoyable sales careers while serving customer interests more effectively. This principle explains why relationship-focused salespeople often outperform technically superior competitors. Their customer-first approach naturally generates the trust and loyalty that drives long-term sales success. Prospecting psychology. Overcoming call reluctance. Tracy examines the psychological barriers that prevent effective prospecting, identifying call reluctance as perhaps the most common obstacle limiting sales success across all experience levels and industries. He explores how call reluctance manifests through various forms, including fear of rejection, concern about interrupting people, anxiety about appearing pushy, worry about product knowledge and adequacy, and perfectionism that delays action until conditions seem ideal. Through psychological analysis, Tracy demonstrates how these fears often stem from deeper concerns about self-worth, social acceptance, and competence that extend beyond selling contexts. He provides specific techniques for overcoming call reluctance, including desensitization through progressive exposure, reframing exercises that change the meaning of rejection, and activity-focused goals that measure effort rather than just outcomes. Tracy introduces the concept of numbers game psychology, explaining how understanding statistical realities helps salespeople interpret individual rejections as necessary steps toward eventual success rather than personal failures. He addresses how different personality types experience call reluctance differently and require customized approaches. Analytical types often overthink and require action deadlines. Expressive personalities fear personal rejection. Drivers may have difficulty with patience required for relationship building, and amiable types worry about appearing aggressive. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that call reluctance represents normal human psychology rather than character weakness, making systematic desensitization and skill building more effective than willpower or motivation alone. This psychological approach to prospecting challenges treats call reluctance as a manageable condition rather than an insurmountable obstacle, providing practical methods for developing the consistent prospecting discipline essential for sales success. Presentation psychology. Engaging hearts and minds. Tracy explores the psychological elements that make sales presentations compelling, examining how effective presentations engage both emotional and logical decision-making processes while respecting individual learning and communication preferences. He demonstrates how presentation effectiveness depends more on psychological engagement than information delivery, with customer attention, interest, and retention driven by relevance, clarity, and emotional connection rather than comprehensiveness or technical sophistication. Tracy introduces the IDA model, attention, interest, desire, action, as a psychological framework for presentation structure, showing how each element addresses specific customer mental states that must be achieved sequentially for effective persuasion. He provides specific techniques for each IDA component, capturing attention through provocative questions or surprising statistics, building interest through customer-specific examples and applications, creating desire through outcome visualization and emotional benefit emphasis, and motivating action through clear next steps and urgency creation. Tracy addresses how different personality types require different presentation approaches, with analytical customers preferring detailed data and logical progression, expressive types responding to stories and social proof, drivers wanting bottom-line results quickly, and amiable personalities needing relationship context and consensus consideration. He explores how effective presentations balance telling and asking, using questions to maintain engagement and uncover concerns while providing information that addresses customer priorities. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that presentation psychology focuses on customer experience rather than salesperson performance, making audience engagement and understanding more important than perfect delivery or comprehensive product coverage. This psychological approach transforms presentations from information dumps into interactive experiences that build conviction through customer participation and discovery rather than passive listening. Objection handling, understanding resistance psychology. Tracy examines objections as natural expressions of customer psychology rather than personal attacks or sale-ending obstacles, providing frameworks for understanding and addressing the emotional and logical concerns that underlie apparent resistance. He categorizes objections into different types, including genuine concerns requiring information, emotional reactions needing acknowledgement, conditional objections expressing decision criteria, and stalling tactics that mask deeper issues. Through psychological analysis, Tracy demonstrates how objections often reveal important customer priorities, decision-making processes, and underlying fears that salespeople can address more effectively than attempting to override resistance through argument or pressure. He introduces specific objection handling methods, including the feel, felt, found technique for emotional acknowledgement, the question method for uncovering real concerns behind stated objections, and the reframe approach for helping customers see situations from different perspectives. Tracy addresses how different personality types express objections differently and require tailored responses. Analytical customers typically raise logical concerns requiring detailed answers. Expressive types may object emotionally and need reassurance. Drivers often object about timing or efficiency, and amiable personalities may express concerns about consensus or change impact. He explores how timing affects objection handling, demonstrating how prevention through thorough discovery and presentation often works better than correction after objections arise. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that objection handling represents problem-solving collaboration rather than confrontational debate, making genuine curiosity and customer focus more effective than defensive responses or aggressive counterarguments. This psychological framework positions objections as valuable feedback that guides salespeople toward addressing genuine customer concerns while building credibility through thoughtful response rather than resistant argument. Closing psychology, creating decision environments. Tracy explores the psychological dynamics of closing, challenging traditional high-pressure approaches by demonstrating how effective closing creates natural decision environments where customers feel comfortable committing rather than pressured into buying. He examines how closing effectiveness depends more on preceding relationship, trust, and value establishment than on specific closing techniques, with the best closes feeling inevitable rather than manipulative to customers. Tracy introduces various closing methods while emphasizing the psychology behind their effectiveness. The assumptive close that projects confidence in value delivery. The alternative close that provides choice while assuming purchase. The summary close that reinforces accumulated value, and the direct close that asks straightforwardly for commitment. He demonstrates how each closing approach appeals to different psychological preferences and customer types, with analytical buyers preferring logical summaries, expressive customers responding to enthusiasm and social proof, drivers appreciating direct approaches, and amiable types needing reassurance about decision safety. Tracy addresses the timing psychology of closing, explaining how premature closing attempts create resistance, while delayed closing allows momentum to dissipate. He provides guidance for recognizing buying signals, including verbal confirmations, detailed questions about implementation, and body language changes that indicate psychological readiness for commitment. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that closing represents the natural culmination of effective selling rather than a separate skill requiring special techniques, making customer preparation and relationship development more important than closing tactics. This psychological approach to closing focuses on earning commitment through value demonstration rather than extracting agreement through pressure, creating more sustainable relationships and reducing post-sale buyer's remorse. Continuous learning and professional development. In concluding sections, Tracy addresses the psychological requirements for sustained sales success, examining how continuous learning, skill development, and mindset cultivation create long-term career advancement and personal satisfaction. He explores how the most successful salespeople maintain what he calls beginner's mind, remaining curious, coachable, and committed to improvement despite experience and past success. Tracy identifies specific development areas including product knowledge, industry expertise, customer psychology understanding, communication skills, and time management capabilities that compound over time to create expertise that competitors struggle to match. He provides frameworks for systematic skill development, including reading programs, seminar attendance, mentorship relationships, and practice routines that accelerate learning while maintaining performance standards. Tracy addresses the psychological challenges of long-term sales careers, including rejection management, motivation maintenance through inevitable slumps, and goal evolution as success creates new opportunities and responsibilities. He explores how professional development creates both external results and internal satisfaction by building competence, confidence, and career security that transcend any single job or industry. Throughout this discussion, Tracy emphasizes that sales success requires treating selling as a profession worthy of serious study rather than merely a job that anyone can perform without preparation. This professional development perspective positions selling as a high-value skill set that creates career security and personal fulfillment through continuous improvement and service to others, explaining why some salespeople build sustainable careers while others struggle despite temporary successes. Conclusion. The psychology of selling offers a comprehensive framework for understanding and applying the mental and emotional factors that drive both selling effectiveness and buying decisions. Through Tracy's systematic exploration of salesperson psychology, customer behavior, and the psychological dynamics of persuasion, the book provides both theoretical insights and practical methodologies for achieving sustainable sales success. The work's particular value lies in its focus on psychological principles rather than manipulative techniques, creating approaches that serve both seller and buyer interests while building long-term relationships and professional satisfaction. For sales professionals seeking consistent improvement, this book provides the mental foundation and psychological tools necessary for understanding human behavior in sales contexts, while developing the authentic influence that creates both financial success and personal fulfillment. By positioning sales as a profession requiring psychological sophistication rather than merely technical skill, Tracy elevates selling from a necessary evil to a valuable service that helps people make beneficial decisions while creating meaningful careers for practitioners who invest in mastering its psychological dimensions.